only because there is someone who has a label, let's not look at them in a different manner and let's see more of the ability than the disability in the child.
Yes. Layman is not aware. Okay, you can't put your child in a normal school, but then where do you go?
There's a rule, a government rule, which states that no school can deny admission to a special needs child.
It's not pity, you need to have empathy. That's more important. Because if you don't have empathy, then the child is left out.
Yeah.
So some of them, autism is characterized by routine.
Correct.
Even if I place certain things in line, if they're not the same size, same color, same shape, it may irk someone with autism.
Okay.
So welcome to the Dolly Show, navigating through autism, one story at a time. So here we have with us today a parent and a professional. This is what makes TDS unique. So here we have with us a mother who has a child with autism. Her name is Jane Nazareth, and she is a successful banker as well. And we have our professional who is Dr. Alisha Lalljee. She is here with us. She is psychologist as well as a special educator. And lots to mention, which we will be doing later. Let's just things unfold. So my first question will be, how do you diagnose or how do you get to know? How is the test done?
I think when we have parents coming to clinic, they are of various types. There will be a certain section which is in denial and would think that there's absolutely no delay. There would be a certain section which knows there is a problem but doesn't know how to go ahead. And there would be probably a certain group of parents that even if you try to tell them that there is a problem, they're probably trying to rationalize somewhere in their head in terms of, are we wrong? Who's gone wrong? So each one of these has to be dealt with very differently. Now for any disability, first we need to understand that there are various levels of severity that we have, which range from mild, moderate, severe and profound. Based on the level of severity, only will we know how the initial milestones appear. So if say a child has a particular disability which is severe or profound, you will know very early in time because a lot of milestones would be delayed. So when I say milestones, it would be even neck holding, crawling, turning sides in bed, or even suckling to drink. That can be a problem. Then also the other milestones, which would be sitting, standing, walking, all those would be delayed. So if that happens, we know generally at say a year and a half that there is some delay. So that's when parents seek help to understand where do we go, what do we do. Now there are also so many therapies and so many places that they can go to. So we need to figure out who needs to go where on the basis of what they're actually suffering from. I think Jane will be able to give us a better perspective because as a parent, she would have a lot of questions that she's dealt with and answered then. Also understanding where did you go first in that way.
In my son's case, initially he had hydrocephalus.
Okay.
Right. The third day or the fourth day, we were supposed to get discharged after I delivered him. He was, he had a bulge in his head. So that's where when they started checking and figuring out, that's when they got to know he was suffering from hydrocephalus. So we got a doctor who said we'll have to put a stent from inside
to remove the fluid.
So that stent they put, but somehow I think the stent wasn't fixed properly. So there was a failure there. Then we had to again do it for him. So, obviously, there also somewhere, it has played its part in delaying his stuff, in his understanding, in the way his milestones were. Like in Baba's case, he started walking very late. Like in Adam's case, generally at the age of 8 months, 9 months or a year, children start babbling and talking. Adam wouldn't. He would make sounds. So Adam still speaks only one word. He's 8 now and he still speaks mama, dada, like single words. He doesn't speak a full sentence as such.
Okay.
In his case.
So for that matter, just to ask, so you got these little signs and symptoms. So then what triggered you to, go and get it checked with the doctor? What was that? So you saw just one and you went to the doctor, or you just waited probably, you waited for 2, 3 or 4 signs?
No, see, as I said earlier, Adam has hydrocephalus. So because of which, he's had a series of the syphilis, the stent failing, or, it getting blocked. And as I mentioned, he didn't walk till the age of 6. So taking him, or because he wasn't able to kind of, converse or something, it was a difficult task. Like now we know he points out. He points out at things, although he speaks only one, but he understands everything that we do.
Okay.
He can make up, he can, if you say, okay, go get that, he knows. You give him a command, he knows. But earlier it was difficult because we wouldn't understand what he's trying to convey to us. He wouldn't understand what we are trying to convey to him. So that's where it gets difficult. And a lot of people, a lot of schools or anywhere you go, it's very difficult because they would want someone who is mobile, who would move around, or someone who is with our experience, who's independent. They don't want to take the pain to
exactly.
Okay, let me guide. That's when you need an external force. Like as a parent, you'll do everything. But then you need that external force. Where do you need to start? Or what are the needs? I as a layperson it'll be difficult. But if there is a specialized, kind of a course or something, you can put your child, enroll your child, and then kind of, the school tells, okay, I think he's, this is what he's good in, or this is what he requires right now. That is what is lacking.
That brings me to another very interesting question. Is that parents struggle? Should I go to an occupational therapist? Should I go to a speech therapist? What am I supposed to do? My child, he talks a bit. He does this, he does that, but what to do, where to go, they're clueless. Correct. So to start with, you need to go to a psychologist and get it analyzed. So what I want to know is there some pattern that they can follow, or I know every child is different. So how do you go about this?
I think it's extremely different because it depends on the difficulties that they're facing. Now, see, in terms of Adam had a medical history, so they knew the route. But a lot of kids may not have any medical history of that sort, apart from delays and milestones. So either going to, say, a neurologist if they're seizures, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or even your pediatrician can guide you appropriately. Are the milestones late? If they are, then there is a need for an external intervention. It can be anybody. Now, if there is lack of speech, you need to consult a speech therapist. If there are difficulties in gross motor, fine motor, perceptual skills, then you need to consult an occupational therapist or an autist. Academics comes later. So when it comes to going to a special educator or remedial educator, that would only probably be after 3.5, 4.5, where you feel that my child needs to learn, say, the letters and alphabets and numbers, and I need a technique or a procedure in which the child will learn better, but I am not able to do that because I am not appropriately trained. So in that case would be the role of an educator. Now, I also feel that a lot of people themselves, even professionals, don't know the route.
Correct.
And I also feel that a lot of organizations or special schools are not equipped. A lot of kids with special needs are homeschooled. So if I take my child with a special need and go to, say, a school, they may not have that age group. They may have a group where there's a child talking, there's one who's unable to walk, there's one who can communicate. Now, another thing that happens is parents in that group also want a homogeneous group.
Correct.
Yes. They do not want their child to pick up something that they don't have. So even in special schools, having a homogeneous group, homogeneous age group, and also appropriately skilled educators and teachers is something that we really lack.
True. I
Totally agree. Absolutely.
So true. Because this was one question that, I had this thing since very long. And even everybody knows, you as a parent, me as a layman. We all know we lack. But there are out there are a lot of therapists, there are a lot of schools which give all these facilities, but people don't know much about it. So there should be some step taken forward,
Correct.
to address this. Amazing. So well said. Coming, as we have, come up with this topic of education, it's a vast topic, but to cut it down to, one question. So these children I have seen personally in my daughter's school as well. Few schools deny them admission.
Yes.
So what is your take on this?
I feel not every school has an inclusive setup. Now, 10% of the world population, 10% has some form of disability, which means in every class there are going to be 2-3 children who have certain delays, certain disabilities, learning disability, attention deficit or autism. Now, if they are not well equipped, they're not going to take the child.
Right.
I may want my child to be in an inclusive setup, but if the team is not inclusive, they're not going to take them. Now, there have been in the past government policies promoting inclusion wherein in a class of say 30, 40, you have to have at least one child.
Correct.
Schools did start off. Another thing that happened is there was an uproar from the neurotypical parents because they felt that our child is picking up something. The special child also feels secluded because he or she finds it difficult to make friends. So we do want to promote inclusion, of course we do. But inclusion, promotion is still a far-fetched myth in true terms because it's not easy.
No.
Well answered. So, in regards to education, so your child going to the school, what all challenges have you faced as a parent?
Adam's not yet started schooling. Okay. Because he started walking at the age of 6 and a half, and then COVID set in.
Okay.
So everything was shut for the next 1.5, 2 years. And now basically we are trying to go to this open school in Goregaon, where they said, let him start initially. Let us see how he, because he's quite a outgoing, where he gels well. There's no problem in, he doesn't mixing around.
Right.
Okay, he associates with other kids and he's happy. He's a happy child. If you look at him, he's a very happy
And I also
child.
feel that therapies will always happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
But the school is what will teach us child social skills,
Social skills.
which we can never teach in a formal one-to-one setting.
Yeah.
You need to be out there to
Yeah.
actually understand how to socialize.
So now we plan to put him in that open school in Goregaon. But surprisingly, when we were looking out for schools, we never knew the school existed so close to our place. So, the thing is, people are not aware.
Right.
There is no awareness that,
Yes.
there is this kind of thing, at least to start the child with. Later on, what he picks up or what he's good at, you can train the child. But the parents or a layman is not aware. Okay, you can't put your child in a normal school, but then where do you go?
Yes.
If they're not going to include him in a normal school, or probably he'll be left out alone, or what, but then where do you go? So the awareness is not there. Where can you take your child? In my case, we never knew there was a school that existed so close.
Right.
So what?
And I've been hunting for schools. I've been hunting for schools all over to take.
So I knew that there's a rule, a government rule, which states that no school can deny admission to a special needs child. That is true, right?
So I think we have various boards. We have like an NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. We have an SSC board, an IG, IP, CBSE, ICSE. The rules are a little different for each one of them. Private schools have a different rule. Government
Okay.
schools have a different rule. So the rule is not the same for all of them.
There we go.
And how much can a child with special needs pick up?
Correct.
How much will the child with special needs be able to pick up like the rest of his peers?
Correct.
We need to understand that.
That's something that happens
And
only
will-
over time.
And will the one who will the teacher be able to give him that kind of an attention?
Correct.
Or will she have that kind of an empathy for the child?
True.
It's not pity. You need to have empathy. That's
And-
more important. Because if you don't have empathy, then the child is left out.
Yeah.
It's how much can you include that child as a teacher, as a leader in the class? How much can you get all of them together to include that child? That is what is important.
Right. And I personally feel parents, that's why make the best educators, because you will have the kind of experience that even I have not. I'll tell you how. You will work with Adam from day one
Correct.
till he's an adult, and you'll see that journey. You'll see the growth. You know where you suffer. You know what worked for you. You'll know what didn't work for you. Now, I would know that for a child, say for 1 year or 2 years. I've had the opportunity to work with one child for 10 years. So that's my share of experience when he was 3 and a half. And now he's 14. We worked together for 10 years. So I know how the transition goes. But it's going to stay at 10 years. You will know much more than that. Because there's a different amount of experience that you get when you've worked with one child for all your life.
Right.
So that's why I always say that parents make the best educators. And in fact, they should take up to learning special education. So they can help other children and other parents.
Something I was thinking, in fact, I was telling my spouse also that I think I wish there's something that I can just learn, how to handle, how to, teach.
Yeah.
What is the best? Like some institute where I could go and learn. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to become a
Special,
but
a sort of a guideline.
How to handle.
Some basic, structure. I know they say every child is different, but a basic structure.
Baseline, where okay, this works, this will work, this will not work, or this is how I need to, inculcate this kind of an action in him.
Right. So I learn theory and then learn practical.
Yeah.
She comes with so much practical. Theory is going to be relatively so much easier for her.
And I would love to do it, not only for my kid, if I could help somebody else also, 100% I would.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think after this, I'm going to tell you what you should be doing and where you should be going.
Wow. So you have one project in hand already.
Lovely.
Which will definitely help your child as well as probably other children as well.
Certainly.
Super. So that was really amazing. Next that I want to come up to, as we are discussing, there should be a course, this and everything. What is your child's, how does your day unfold? So what is the daily routine? How does it go?
Okay. Adam is up in the morning at 6:30. He'll find me in the kitchen because I'm a working mother. So he'll find me in the kitchen. He'll come in the kitchen and he'll give me big bright eyes. He'll look at me, give me a big smile. Because his conversation is not, developed as yet. Speech hasn't developed. But look at me. Then I say, you didn't call me mama today. I'm your mama. No, you have to call me mama. Then he'll say, mama, mama. Then he'll say, mama, mama, mama. And then he'll give me a big smile. That's how he starts. And then he'll want water, so he'll point out to the water. Then he'll go back to the room to see what his father is doing. He'll look here and there. Then I put on prayers in the morning, so he'll point out to the TV.
Okay.
So he wants to hear that. And he loves to pray. He just loves to pray. You have to, whatever he's doing, say, Adam, come, let's sit and pray. He'll come. He'll leave he'll drop everything, he'll just come. Then once that is done, then the other siblings get up, going to college, school and all. He'll see them off. And then his elder sister does exercise. So he will show up. If you ask him, how does she do exercise? Show up that he's doing exercise. He'll move his legs and hands and all and show us. So kind of like, he's also a little stretched. Okay. And once that is done, then he'll have his breakfast. Earlier, he used to not realize when I used to go to work. Now he realizes. So now he'll catch my hand and he'll do a little jumping and hopping and all, to show that, okay, don't go. But then he knows eventually I go. So Then he'll come and he'll look at the window.
Okay.
Where I've gone out, and he'll be happy. Then he's like whole day with his TV or talking when the siblings are back. He'll sit and do musty, whatever with them. If you give him finger foods, he takes. Otherwise, normal food we need to feed him because his left side is a little, stiff. Because of the hydrocephalus, and it's got a little stiff. Okay. Now, he'll sleep, he gets up, goes for a shower, he'll look down. If one of us are there, we take him down. When he comes up, he likes to listen to nursery rhymes.
Okay.
So he listens to the nursery rhymes and hums the tunes. If you tell him to hum Happy Birthday, he'll not hum Happy Birthday. You tell him to hum a particular hymn, he knows to hum that. But he knows the tunes. It's only that his speech is not developed, basically. So I know he's picking up. He loves to see cooking.
Oh.
He just loves to see cooking channels. And then he loves to stand in the kitchen and see when the cook comes to cook.
Does he try helping at all?
Yeah, but he knows. He look at you like last time when I visited the hospital, someone told me, let him do sandwiches. And I was like, okay, sandwiches and the butter is going to be all over him. But he loves. I've realized over time that he loves to see people cooking and see how they are cutting and see what they are doing. So basically, he knows what is a knife, what is a cutting board, he's picked all those things up. And you tell him get an onion or go get a plate, let's see. So involve him in those small things which he knows.
Yeah.
Basically. And I've never gone and showed him okay, this is a cup, this is a plate. But he's picked those.
That's what I want. That is what, I want to know. Have you to just pertaining to your child, not as we know. So have you to teach him or they pick it up or how
he picks it up? Now also that because he's got elder siblings and there's a lot of conversation that goes on in the house, So he's learned it. Okay, go get a banana from the table. Or go get an apple. He knows what's an apple. He knows what's a banana. He knows what's an orange. He's aware. When I come home in the evening, right from since we stay on the first floor, so when I enter, I want to know how, what can I say? I'm not getting the word.
Aware?
How aware or how, is he able to judge that I come around? I have a habit of whistling.
Okay.
Right from the compound, I'll whistle. And he'll come immediately to the window, no matter what he's doing.
So that's a special clue in which he knows that it's
I'm back home. So he knows. The moment I whistle, he knows I'm back home.
So kids also associate a lot of things with sounds.
In Adam's case, yes. He doesn't like the sound of the fan.
Okay.
But he loves the AC.
Achha.
The AC is on, he'll make sure the fan is put off.
Okay.
So there's a lot of comprehension, but expression can be good on certain days. It may not be the best on certain days.
The moment he sees me, he knows I've whistled and he sees me, and then he'll come to the door to open it. So he knows I'm coming up. So
what do you think? With that comes up another question. What do you think? A routine helps these children or just
most kids with autism want a routine.
Okay.
There was a time where I used to take home visits and I had to reach this particular child at 8:30 in the morning. If I reached at 8:31, there was an uproar for the next 60 minutes.
Oh.
Okay. So some of them, autism is characterized by routine.
Correct.
Even if I place certain things in line, if they're not the same size, same color, same shape, it may irk someone with autism.
Okay.
And if I reached, say, at 8:29, even if he had finished everything for the day and he was just ready for my class, he would still be taking the rounds to see what is left.
Oh, okay.
And only sit at 8:30. So the best thing that I would do is just wait outside the door for 5 minutes. 8:30, ring the bell. To not upset him or his routine. So I think they like it like that. So though we would want it to take a very natural flow, that's not always possible. Those who are less rigid in their own ways, yes, it would work, not with all of them.
Super. Next is what I want to know, as Jane just spoke about. She has found out that, her son is good at cooking. So what I have, figured or maybe noticed these children have some or the other ability. Which parents, if they get to know, and if they enhance it, they can do wonders. We all know,
Right.
all our legends, Dr. Temple Grandin, what has she has done wonders to the world.
Yeah.
And we have Elon Musk, who just said that, I was on the spectrum. So these kind of people have done so much. So definitely our children, the next gen, definitely will have some or the other ability. How do you enhance that? How do you develop that? How does a parent get to know? Now Jane has already found out. So she might just, enhance it, and probably he can be an amazing cook.
Correct.
So how do you go about that?
So we must firstly know that there are probably 70 million individuals in the world who have autism. Some go diagnosed, some go absolutely undiagnosed. A lot of people with mild autism would be characterized under the Asperger's bracket. And that is specifically related to individuals having those good skills that they do. A lot of children and adults with Asperger's do extremely well at any one skill, whether it's a musical instrument, art, dance, or some form of a skill. So I think it's important for us to first identify, like Jane has identified, what is the skill? How can I best help my child to explore that skill to the best of his capacity?
Exactly. Exposing the child to a lot of things.
Yes, because I wouldn't know otherwise, right? Also, what parents sometimes do wrongly, that's for all kids, special needs and neurotypical, I teach my child a skill that I wanted to learn. Or I teach my child something that I feel is the right thing. Figure out what is it that your child is good in. And then you take it further from there.
Perfect. Next, my question is, which has been tingling into my head. What if a child has a meltdown or is throwing a crazy tantrum? How do you control it? I know it's a crazy time that parents go through, professionals, you as well. You might be having children coming into your clinic, and suppose you spoke about 60 minutes of a tantrum if you are 1 minute late. So we understand that's a tantrum. How do you handle that situation?
See, when there is a tantrum, firstly, say you're having a meltdown now. We also have our share of meltdowns. That's not the right time for me to speak to you. I need to speak to you when you're in the right frame to listen to me. Say a child is having a meltdown. There is screaming, yelling, shouting. The child is on the floor. He is not going to be cognizant enough to listen to me. I need to train when the child is calm. Like a lot of parents go shopping and they see toy shops on the road. Okay? The child wants to say, buy a toy. But can I buy a toy every day? No, I can't. So I need to plan and pre-plan and tell the child maybe a day or two prior or on the same day just before leaving the house that we are going to be going. Today is not your day to shop. Yes, you will see a store. If you see a store, I'm still not going to buy anything. So I don't want this to happen. Now, if I plan and pre-plan and also add another, probably say, a punishment to it or a reinforcer to it. When I say punishment, I don't mean raising your hand on the child. A punishment also means taking away something from the child that the child likes. For example, you have not behaved in the best manner today. I generally give you a dessert post your meal. I'm sad today and I take that away. Today I'm not happy with your behavior. You get 1 hour of screen time. Generally today I will give you only 15 minutes because I am sad. A punishment needs to be something that the child has attached meaning to.
Correct.
And you always plan and pre-plan before leaving the house. Not when there's a meltdown actually and literally.
So rather than having the situation, you prevent it. That's a rather better way to do it.
So this will take a lot of time. This will have a lot of trial and error. But the child will understand what you're expecting out of him. So that's very important.
In our case, it is you're supposed to sit there and not move. Please sit there for 15 minutes. You're not going to move till I tell you.
So that's how you handle the situation.
You
like a timeout situation. Yes, it's very important to know from a parent.
You shout, you do whatever you want. Like Adam likes TV, Baba likes a lot of TV screen. But what he sees a lot is nursery rhymes and the cooking channel. So if at some day we're not putting that on and his siblings are watching something else, then he gets very upset. And when I come home, the first thing he will say, he'll show me they've not put it on. So then I asked them, why are you not putting on? I asked the elder sibling. They are like, no, whole day he wants to watch only nursery rhymes. How can we sit and watch only nursery rhymes? Then he'll cry. He'll show big tears. And he's very good at complaining. He's excellent at complaining.
That's an excellent amount of expression also.
Yeah.
So
he is too good at complaining. Like he will come, he will do this, and he'll say she's not put that. So, like a complaint box, that is what he'll not miss. Okay, and he wants to be heard. So he'll make sure if you're looking that side also, he'll make you look at him.
So that expressive.
That's very expressive.
Yeah.
Also maintaining eye contact.
Yes,
is so important.
absolute eye contact, and he'll make you do. So this is the action. So we know. And then if suppose we've given him enough to watch and then he's still throwing tantrum, we put it off. No watching. Maybe.
Right.
Please sit there quietly and you're not going to move from there till we call you. He will sit there.
Like it's a myth when they say that someone who can't speak cannot communicate.
No. He's absolutely, like he's over the past years that I have seen him, he's picked up very well.
That's very nice to know.
Like earlier, we used to feed him. He was okay with what we were feeding. Like if I keep 5 things in his plate, he now points out and shows what he wants to eat first from that.
Yeah, even food plays a major gut issues. They have food preferences. Yeah. Some texture of food that they don't like, so they don't eat. So how do you, as a parent, figure out what has the?
So you had that issue. Only thing what he likes a lot more than that is the crispiness.
Okay.
He likes something that's crispy. But otherwise, I've never had an issue with his meals because he's always eaten everything.
Nice.
So,
also, an interesting question. When we were talking, you spoke about siblings. So, in a house where there are neurotypical and neurodiverse, so how does that, the gelling around and, how does that work?
Adam's siblings are all elder to him and they all understand his issue. So they're very accommodative with him. They're like, they'll play, let's play train. So they'll go around the whole house playing train with him, right from his elder sibling to the young or they play Inky Pinky Ponky and they will teach him how to keep his hands. So he's learned how to keep his hands when we play Inky Pinky Ponky.
Okay.
So they're very, and I think having siblings really helps.
Right. Is what?
It really helps. I mean, even to the normal kid, if you have only one kid and the kid does not have any other sibling around, I have seen, children feel left out. They don't know what to do. Socializing skills or gelling with the other kids is difficult. But when you have siblings, it really works well.
Even, I think, for that matter, having a joint family or, grannies, they tell stories. These little things that grannies do does help, right?
Definitely. And I also feel that everyone has something to teach.
Correct.
And everyone has a role to play. And the child is learning from not only parents, but siblings, people who are younger and elder. And your chores get divided. It's not just one person who's behind the child for everything.
Correct.
Because then the child starts to only take that particular parent or caregiver as someone only for correction. So it's nice when there are a lot of people, the child can bond well as well. And you also learn different things from different individuals. So that's a very nice combination.
Like sometimes Adam really throws tantrums and gets irritated and then he will go to his sister and do this, he'll try to pinch her or nail her or something. But today we called him, my husband just called him, today's story. Made him sit. We showed him his sister's hand and he gave him 2 on his hand like this. Next time you're not going to pinch. He may not learn it now, but maybe another 2-3 times, if we correct him, probably he'll learn that he's not supposed to pinch someone. It's hurting. And we told him, we'll pinch you and show you, see how it hurts. It hurts, so you're not supposed to pinch.
So a lot of children with autism have very high pain thresholds. So even if they've cut themselves or they've injured themselves, they don't realize pain.
A new learning.
Yeah.
Which is a little gets me to the next question. The incidence of autism, if you see, I have been studying a bit, so it's been increasing many folds.
Correct.
And in regards to that, the awareness is still lacking. So, what is your?
I think the number of identified cases is increasing rapidly over the year. Just to give you some statistics, in around 2017-18, autism was 1 in 59. 2 years later, it increased to 1 in 44. And if you ask me the present statistics, it would probably be 1 in 33. Which means that in any classroom, there will definitely be the one child or two children that if they don't have like a full-blown autism, they would definitely have a few soft signs which may or may not go unnoticed. I think getting aware is extremely important. Also, it is said, and I truly agree with it, that if you've seen one child with autism, you've just seen one child with autism. In my practice of 10 years, say if I've seen 7,000 or 8,000 children and adults with autism, there have been no two children that have ever been the same.
Correct.
So understanding the signs is very important. Now, we know that it is characterized by a lot of repetition, perseverance, lack of eye contact, playing with objects that are of less significance to us, but more significance to them. Not like the fact that they're being touched or hugged. Little bit of sensation or difficulties with textures, not liking, say, a certain texture on my body or a texture to hold or a texture to eat. Now, these are a few soft signs. If we get aware about what is it that I have seen, what is it that a neurotypical would do at this particular age group, what is the lag, then we can help to bridge it. And this is something that only a professional can help you with. This is what is supposed to happen. This is where my child stands. How do I bridge the gap between it?
Yeah, true. Which gets me, another sort of a question. You, being a parent, how do you find the society accepting all this? Or do you see acceptance? Because I see a lot of lack of acceptance. I have seen parents who the child has very, 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 severe symptoms, but the parent does not want to acknowledge and does not want to accept my child has something and will not even go for diagnosis. Forget everything else. There's no acceptance. So what do you think? How is your child, supposedly, you must be taking the child out somewhere, or so how does the society react? What is that goes around?
Like some people just keep staring. Some of them just keep staring, and some of them will just, what is wrong with them? I don't think currently in these years or this generation, people are not aware. There's at least 1% people are aware, but they don't understand the difference. How she said, how you're going to measure the child, the severity. They don't understand the difference of, okay, he's not talking, he's got speech has not yet developed, but he's being able to communicate and tell me what is there. What's the issue? For me, in Addie's case, acceptance was the first thing that I did. Because that's going to help my kid. If I'm not going to accept him the way he is, no one will. And the battle will be more difficult. So the first thing myself and my spouse, Steve, did, yes, he's got an issue, we need to accept it. And we're going to work our way around. Because if we as parents don't accept the fact that he's got a problem, it needs to be sorted, it may not be a problem.
It's not a problem. They're just differently able.
Yeah. They're differently able.
Exactly.
Today, a normal person also, he may be a PhD, he may be whatever, but there are different ways of him to react to certain situations.
Exactly.
So what makes him different?
Exactly.
I need to, he's got a different way of communicating to me, and I need to understand.
Correct.
Right.
How
right.
good am I as a parent to understand him, to fight his battle?
Correct.
That's more
Right.
important.
And just to add on to that, I feel that every parent has their journey of denial and acceptance and self-blame.
Correct.
And they all ultimately arrive at a conclusion that this is something that needs working, irrespective of it being something which is not my fault, not anybody's fault. There's nothing that I can do. So every parent goes through that journey. Some of them need help to go through that journey. But I feel as a lame person just walking in the road, if individuals could just take care of their gazes, nods, gestures and stares, the world will be a much better place for any child or a parent of a special child to walk free of any judgment. That's very important, and I think we need to propagate that yes, there are going to be people on the road that may not look neurotypical, and it's okay.
And it's okay.
You don't need to look twice.
Exactly.
They're walking their road, you walk your road and pass by.
Correct. And what I've seen, they are pure souls.
Oh yes.
Is what I have experienced. If they don't want to do that task, they will say a no.
I think their repertoire of words and language is specific and brief.
Yeah.
They're going to call white, white and black, black.
Correct.
Because they comprehend the world in a certain manner and they say it the way they've understood it.
So that gets me to one more question, which is, what are these myths and misconceptions that you know, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions. So we can discuss a few.
I think one of the most commonly heard myths is that every child with autism has a low IQ. There are a lot of individuals with autism who have exceptionally high IQs, probably would have an IQ that crosses 120, 130, which is the IQ of a gifted individual. So that is a myth. There is also a myth that they cannot marry, they cannot have children.
Exactly.
Of course they can. If they're probably mild in the spectrum that they are, of course they can live normal, healthy lives. I have seen a lot of married couples come to me and even got their disability identified only at 35 and 45 plus. Now the question here is, should you diagnose, should you not diagnose? So I leave this to them to decide whether a diagnosis would help or not. But if me giving a diagnosis is going to shake somebody's marriage, I would rather not give that diagnosis. So there are going to be a number of people around us. So we need to take care of that bit as well. Marriage is another thing that people hold a lot of questions about in terms of, will they marry, will they not marry? Will they always be dependent on a caregiver? No, not at all.
Oh yeah, this is a huge...
If they've been trained well, of course they're going to be independent on their own. If you have a girl who's been trained to take care of her menses, of course she's going to be able to do it. And we need to realize that there is, say, an academic delay, a behavioral concern.
So what my thinking goes is, let's not, attach autism to sadness or a problem. I hate that. In fact, there are so many happy moments. You being a parent, you being a professional, so many happy moments, so many good things about these children, so many abilities. So let's shift the focus from this sadness, these problems and everything, to something brighter, to something for these parents, that there is a lot of hope and there is lots that can be done for these children. So what do you all say about this?
I feel there are a lot of people who struggle in their own way. Each one of us has our difficulties. It's just that very often we don't have a label to prove that we have a problem. There are going to be a lot of us that are probably mentally ill, a lot of us who have disabilities that are not identified only because there is someone who has a label. Let's not look at them in a different manner and let's see more of the ability than the disability in the child.
Yes, perfect. What do you have to say on that?
I totally agree with her, Alisha. Let's see the ability of a child more than what he. Let's look at him with what he or she can do,
Right?
Other than looking at what they're not capable of doing, or what all of us are in some way or the other could be capable in something and could not be capable. So why label them?
So let us move beyond the label, and let the label not restrict us in helping a child work to the best of his or her potentials.
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you so much, both of you,
Thank
for
you.
being here. And it was amazing talking to both of you. And so many things I'm going to take back, and so many things that I have learned today from a parent and a professional. And I think you too as well have learned something new.